Hello, and thank you for joining me. My name is Taylor Mackey, and I'd like to talk to you about bismuth so that your company can make an informed decision about this mineral. The image on the right is a more commonly recognized image of bismuth. However, when looking through the earth for bismuth, it is most commonly found attached to other minerals. So let's talk about the basics. Bismuth, or Bi, is a metallic lustered mineral. It fractures unevenly, and it leaves a gray streak. It has a melting point of 520.3 degrees Fahrenheit, which is relatively low for a metal, which is actually one of the most important things about bismuth, which we will also talk about later. It is twice as abundant as gold, and it is brittle on its own. Back in the day, bismuth was often mistaken for lead, which is ironic because one of bismuth's major purposes today is acting as an environmentally safe replacement for lead. One of the most common places of seeing that is with lead piping. Back when the US required more regulations about toxic properties in their pipes for safe water, bismuth was used as a very common replacement for those lead pipes. We're now going to go back to talking about that crystallized form of bismuth that we're all a little bit more familiar with. The technical term for this is a geometric hopper, and the way this is formed is by bringing bismuth to its melting point of 520 degrees Fahrenheit inside a metal container which has a higher melting point than the bismuth. The impurities will then raise to the top, which can then be fished out, leaving the bismuth to start to cool inside of the pot. The bismuth can then be removed, revealing the partially cooled state of the geometric hopper. As stated by Belmont Metals, bismuth forms geometric, shiny, iridescent crystals which quickly oxidize and turn a rainbow of colors, ranging from yellow, blue, silver, and pink. Let's talk about where bismuth is mined. For starters, bismuth is no longer mined in the US. The last production of bismuth in the United States was in 1997 at the Nebraska refinery, but the last bit of bismuth from that company sold that same year. For a little bit while after, there was still bits of bismuth found in lead ores, but no longer because the last lead smelter also closed in 2013. The vast majority of bismuth in the US is imported. In fact, 96% of it is imported. 80% from China, 8% from Belgium, 4% from Mexico, 2% from the Republic of Korea, and 2% from other locations. In China, bismuth is often mined as a byproduct of other minerals such as tungsten, copper, and lead. Recycled bismuth from the US makes up less than 5% of all US consumption. How is bismuth mined? As formally stated, bismuth is most commonly found as a byproduct of other minerals. This is because there are not large quantities of bismuth standalone underground to be mined. In fact, the last standalone bismuth mine was the Tanza mine in Bolivia that closed in 1996. Today, one of the largest companies mining bismuth is the China Minmetals Corporation. With their headquarters being stationed in Beijing, China, and being stationed in over 60 countries and regions around the world, it is no surprise that they are considered to be the world-class powerhouse in metals and minerals industry. The China Minmetal Company specializes in metallic minerals. Some of their most notable achievements are that they are ranked 109th amongst the Fortune Global 500 companies, which is a worldwide ranking of company revenue. They are also the owners of many world-class mines, including the Las Babas copper mine and the Dugald River zinc mine. Their output of bismuth is among the top in the world, and along with their zinc and copper outputs being in the top 10. With mines overseas in Asia, Oceania, South America, and Africa, they have a strong focus on new age technology and real estate. They are one of the top enterprises for science and technology with 14 research and design institutes and 8,000 professionals. How does a company like Minmetals get its bismuth? In China and Vietnam, it is a byproduct and/or co-product of tungsten and other mineral ores. In this case, those other minerals are copper and lead. When found attached to different minerals like copper, tungsten, and lead, there are multiple different processes of separation. Some of those processes include the Betterton-Kroll process, gravitational flotation, magnetic separation, and others such as leaching and the Betz process. The Betterton-Kroll process was patented in 1922 by William Kroll. This is the process of separating bismuth from lead. The process involves heating up the combined lead and bismuth with added calcium or magnesium. The bismuth is lighter than the molten lead and rises as droll, or solid impurities. It can then be separated. The droll is treated with chlorine at 572 to 932 degrees Fahrenheit, which extracts the magnesium. Most often, the bismuth collected is going to be attached to tungsten. The process of removing tungsten from bismuth is a combination of gravity flotation, magnetic separation, and other processes. It starts with the bismuth tungsten concentration going through electrosmelting. It then enters a reduced atmosphere with lead semi-products and soda to get the bismuth lead melts. The tungsten is concentrated with other minerals. The bismuth lead melt undergoes electroseparation, and the bismuth is then collected through precipitation. The concentration is then smelted to produce crude bismuth for refining. Pure bismuth can be obtained by reducing the oxide with carbon or by roasting the sulfide in the presence of charcoal and metallic iron to remove the sulfur. Other processes of separating bismuth from minerals include leaching, which is the process of using one mineral to extract one from the other, as well as the Betz process, which is a process where bismuth and other impurities sink to the bottom of the catalytic solution for separation from lead bullion. How much does bismuth cost? The apparent consumption in 2018 of bismuth was $25 million. At $4.90 per pound domestically, the starting price globally was $5.25, which has gone down over 2018. How is bismuth used? One of bismuth's biggest impact is its environmental safety. During the Safe Drinking Water Act amendment of 1996, lead was required to be replaced in many pipes due to its toxicity. This employed a lot of bismuth over the U.S. The consumption reported for bismuth in 2018 was 680, where the apparent was 2,300, which is an increase from 2014 at 1,750. Bismuth is also used for cosmetic, industrial, lab, and pharmaceutical applications. It's also used for metallurgy aid and fire sprinklers. Its pharmaceutical aids are known for its over-the-counter stomach aches, burns, intestinal disorders, and stomach ulcers, most popularly known for Pepto-Bismol. Some of its other uses are ceramic glazes, crystalware, pearlescent pigments, and the fact that it's easy to mold. What exactly is metallurgy? Metallurgy is the process of separating metal from their ores and the scientific study of metallic elemental behavior. Bismuth's involvement in all this is as an additive for the enhancement of metallurgy. When 48 to 55% of bismuth is present, there is no dimensional changes during solidification. 55 and up, the element will actually grow in size. Bismuth is also a common product found in fire sprinkler triggers. Because bismuth has a low melting temperature, the alloy heats up in the air during a fire. The sprinkler is then unplugged and sprays water. This is the use of 1/3 of bismuth in the U.S. What issues are involved with bismuth? First of all, China bismuth smelters have shut down in the past 2 years due to environmental policies. China is, of course, the largest import of bismuth to the U.S. Because of the Blue Skies program, many companies in China have been stopped from importing slag to tackle the pollution and smog, general regulations limiting smelting of bismuth and other metals. Additionally, bismuth was just added to the critical minerals list for the United States. What is this list? Well, the United States' dependency on vulnerable, limited, and foreign supply chains of mineral commodities that are vital to the nation's security and economic prosperity. These things, of course, are subject to change, but being on this list basically means that these minerals could be endangered, but are needed for the United States. Thank you for your time, and I hope that this information will assist you in helping your company make an educated decision about bismuth.